Welcome to Mindful Leadership, Transforming Lives, with your host, Singh. This is where leadership meets purpose, presence, and passion. In today's fast paced, high pressure world, we face a leadership crisis. Too often, teams are led by managers who lack empathy, clarity, and vision, leaving individuals uninspired, disconnected, and undervalued. But it doesn't have to be this way. Great leadership isn't born, it's built. The end game: empower your leadership, inspire the world. Every week, join me, your host Singh, as we tackle the gaps in leadership and life coaching head on, learning how mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and compassion can redefine success. This isn't just another podcast, it's a mission to fill the void left by ineffective leadership. And it's not just about leadership in business. Life coaching for leaders and new executives is at heart of this journey. Ready to rise above the noise and lead with clarity, purpose, and impact? Join a global movement dedicated to reshaping the future of leadership one mindful moment at a time. Let's begin.
Mindful Leadership podcast on Transformation Network. This is the show where we turn stress into strategy, overthinking into clear thinking, and overwhelm into momentum. I'm your host, Singh. And I want to open today with a hard truth. So here it is. Most teams do not fail because they stop working. I've never seen a team fail because they stopped working. They fail because they keep working harder on slightly different things, right? Think about it. Let it sit there for a second. They fail because they keep working hard on slightly different things. So, because it is not the lazy team that blew up, it is the busy ones. The ones with green dashboards and full of calendars and people who care, those are the teams that walk off a cliff together at full speed, smiling the whole way. And I need you to hear this. I need you to hear this because it is the whole game. Two teams can work themselves to the bone, hit every deadlines, and sit end up in two different places. So effort is not same as direction. You can now hard and you can row hard as hard as you want, but if you are rowing in a different direction, if you're rowing in a direction that you're not aligned, it's the wrong way. So we are not going to talk about working harder today. Your team already works hard. We are going to talk about rowing together. Today, we will fix that, not with more meetings, not with longer mission statements, with five simple moves. Five letters, as always, a dead simple way to keep your whole team pointed in the same direction. We call it align. So let's go. So let me paint a picture here for you. It is Wednesday morning. You are in room with your leaders. On the screen, a project that has been running for 4 months. The slides look good. Everyone has an update. Everybody has something to share. Engineering says they are on track. Marketing is building the launch. Sales has buyers lined up. Support is writing the help pages. Every number on the screen is green. And yet, something feels off. You feel it before you can name it, right? Everybody is shipping. Everybody is busy. Everybody is winning. But a small, quiet question starts tapping at the back of your skull. Are we all building the same thing? Because here is what I have seen more than 100 times in big companies and small. Engineering is building the version they heard in February. Marketing is selling the version that sounded great at the offsite. Sales is pitching the version that closes fast. And support is preparing the version they were told about. Now, every one of those version has same project name on the top. So nobody raises their hand, nobody flags it. Everyone is thinking they're aligned until launch week, until the customer demo, until the review meeting where the money person leans forward and asks one quite little question. Wait, I thought we were doing the other thing. That is the cost of drift. And here is the sneaky part: drift is never loud, It does not slam a door. It is polite. It is productive. It looks exactly like progress. Right up till the second it looks like a car crash. Let me name something I see all the time. With teams that on paper should be unstoppable, drift is not a sign that your team is broken. On the other hand, I would rather say drift is a sign of gravity. Think about the word gravity. Every team has its own pull, the pull towards its own work, its own deadlines, its own numbers, its own way of seeing the problem. Engineers pull towards tech. Marketers pull towards the story. Operators pull towards the flow. Sales pull towards a deal. None of them are wrong. Every one of them is doing their job. But left alone, those pulls tear the same project into pieces, like five magnets, all yanking on one bar of iron, each in different direction. So here is leader's real job. Your job is not to stop the gravity. You cannot. You will never turn off the pull of five smart teams doing their job. Your job is to build a stronger pull at the center. One shared North Star that everybody keeps steering back to. That is what aligned is. It is the pull at the center. So let me tell you about a leader I worked with last year, Nadia, software company, about 200 people growing fast. She came to me and said one line I have never forgotten. And actually, I write all this and keep in my notebook whenever I get the statements from my customers. He said, saying, we are crushing every quarter and somehow nothing is connected. Think about it. And she was right. Great leaders, strong teams, beautiful dashboards, and under all of it, a quite gray exhaustion. Because every cross-team meeting was a redo of a thing they had already agreed 6 weeks before. Every launch had a wait. What did we actually decide? Chat in the parking lot afterward. Every roadmap talk ran 40 minutes longer. The work was good, the alignment was fake. It was a theater. So when we mapped it out together, the answer was almost embarrassing. Nobody was lazy. Nobody was fighting. Each team had just drifted 3 or 4 little degrees of the first heading. And after 4 months, 3 tiny degrees had grown to 30 different versions of the product. And I told Nadia the same thing. I'm talking about to tell you this is not a people problem. Your people are good. This is not a quality of problem. Your people are delivering good quality. This is a gravity problem. And gravity does not have tolerated you. They are not as tolerant. They're not as immersive. Like I said, it's very quietly comes till you get the punch of the crash car, right? That is why you need a system, not just people. So we did not fix it with more meetings. We fixed it with 5 letters, and here is exactly how. The first letter is to assess the goal, and I have to be careful here because most leaders hear that and think, "Done. I already have a goal." It is in the planning document. It is in the kickoff deck. It is in all hands form from January, right? Done. No, I am going to push back on that. Having a goal is not the same as assessing the goal. See, assessing the goal means you take the actual sentence, the one your team is supposedly aligned, and you put it on the table in front of every person who will touch the work, and you ask each one question. In your own words, what does success look like here? And here is the part that shocks every leader who tries it. You will get a different answer from every single person on your team. Not wildly different, not rebel different, just 3 or 4 degrees different. Engineering will talk about it being clean and reliable. Marketing talks about story and the sign up. Sales talks about faster deals. Support talks about keeping customer happy. They all are telling the truth. They are the fact, but they are all staring at a slightly different mountain to climb. And the mindful part of this letter is the willingness to sit in that car. Now that you saw the gap, sit in it calmly without flinching. Do not rush in and fix it in the first 90 seconds. To let them see with their own eyes that the alignment they thought they had was thinner than it looked. Try this at the start of any real project. Run a 5-minute quiet exercise. Everyone writes one sentence. What does it look 90 days from now when this is going well? Then you go around the room, read them out loud. No arguing, no defending, just listening. Then you spend 10 minutes turning out what you heard into one shared sentence, and those 10 minutes will save you 4 months. I have watched it happen again and again and again. So you move. Do not assume the goal, assess it. Get the real sentence on the table. The second letter, look for bias. And this is something that I bring every time. And before anyone tunes out because we touched bias in an earlier episode, hold on. This is a different muscle. In the clear framework, looking for bias is about the decision. Are you calling a guess a fact? In Align, looking for bias is about the team. Are you treating one voice as the voice? Every team has a center of gravity. Sometimes it is the loudest person. Sometimes it is the most senior person. Sometimes it is a team with biggest budget. And sometimes this one is sneaky. It is bias of a person who called the meeting. So whoever frames the question owns about 60% of the answer before anyone else speaks. See, looking for bias on a team means you go hunting for voices you're not hearing. The junior engineer who has not said a word in an hour, the support lead who pulled in 20 minutes late, the office is another country, nobody dialed in, the person who keeps getting cut off halfway through a sentence. Ask yourself, friends, before any team decision, whose voice is quietly getting left out of the room? And what would they say if I made space for them? I worked with a head of strategy at a retail chain, and Jamal, a sharp thinker, hard worker, great instincts. We sat in on a planning session where the team was about to say yes to a big national rollout based on a genuinely great pitch. About 30 minutes in, I noticed two regional managers had not spoken once. So on the break, I asked Jamal one question. What do you think those two would say if you asked them straight? He pulled them in after the break and calmly, both of them named the same thing nobody else in the room had seen. The rollout would crush their staffing in the back to school rush and break a customer experience that took 3 years to build. The plan did not die, it got pushed 10 weeks and reordered. The bias they found was not evil, it was just about geography and pay grade. But if it had stayed hidden, it would have cost them millions. And notice what happened there. Jamal did not need a genius idea. He needed one question aimed at two people in the room who had quietly turned down. The insight was already in the building, it was just not sitting on the table. So your move for this hunt for quiet voices, especially the ones in the room, is built to ignore. All right, the third letter, integration. Integrate your values. Look at that verb, not list of values, not post values on the wall. Integrate them. Make them load bearing. Make them part of actual structure of the decision, not on wallpaper behind it. Now, here is the question. Here's the question I want every leader to listen and sit with it. When two of your values crash into each other, which one wins? Because they will crash. That is the whole reason you have more than one. Speed versus quality, growth versus profit, move fast versus take care of people. Every hard trade off is a values choice dressed up in a business suit. So, integrating value means you pull that fight into the open on purpose before decision, not after. You say out loud which ones are winning, Which values are pushing against each other? You agree you are this one situation. You don't need the same value to win every time. You just need to be honest about which one is winning in this decision and why. This is uncomfortable. Most teams skip it. It is also exact thing that separates a team that holds together under pressure from a team that cracks at the first hard call. So again, I was working with the head of logistics, and they had two values painted in every break room: move fast and treat each other family. And for 2 years, those two had been quietly at war. We did not change the values, we did something much smaller. In every big planning talk, we added one step, one question. Where in this plan are move fast and treat each other family, pointing in opposite directions? And which one are we choosing right here and why? See, just saying it loud changed the team. The decisions did not get easier, they got honest. An honest decision can be aligned, murky ones cannot. So, you move here is to name the values. Name the values that are fighting. Pick the winner out loud. Do not just inherit the poster on the wall, but rationalize why. Why in this decision? The fourth letter is to guide with insights. And the key word is guide. Most leaders, once they have the data, do one of two things. They either dump it raw, here is 8 dashboards, figure it out, or they hide behind one confident line. The data clearly said to do X. Both of those fail at alignment. Guiding in the middle path. You're bringing data. You can say what you saw and why it matters. You leave room for the team to poke at your data and read it. And you land on a conclusion together, one that the team can carry out the door. Now, here is why this matters. And this is brutal and simple. People do not align with conclusion they did not help build. Sit on it for a second. People do not align with a conclusion that they did not help build. Right? They comply, they smile, they nod in the meeting, and then slowly and quietly they drift back to their own read the second the meeting ends. A guided insight is one where the team can say, in their own words, here is what we saw in the data, here is what we decided, and here is why we choose this path. When all five teams can say that same sentence with no coaching, no notes, now you have an alignment. Now, one off meeting before, you are in a good shape. So I sat quarterly in a review with a finance chief. He used to deliver his findings as a 30-slide speech, gorgeous slides, airtight math. And every quarter, 2 months later, his team would be running slightly different versions of what he said. So I suggested to make one change: cut the slides in half. He gave the numbers in 5 minutes. Then he spent 15 minutes asking the team, what does this tell you about next quarter? What would you do with this information? How do you think we should move forward with this? The first time, it was very awkward. The second time, less. By the third quarter, the team was building the answers with him. And the drift dropped almost to nothing. They were not smarter, they were aligned because they had touched the insight with their own data and they came up to that conclusion collectively. So here is the move for you: do not broadcast the data, do not bury it either. Walk the team through it until they own the answer. And then the fifth one: nurture actions. And this is the one most teams treat as easy one when it actually the hardest and the letter that decides whether everything before holds. Nurturing action means you do not just launch the plan and walk away. You tend in like a garden. You build in check ins. You watch for tiny signals of drift before they grow into big ones. You call out the wins out loud. You name the misses with no blame. And you nudge the team back on course the moment you feel it's slipping, because it will slip. Of course, it will. Remember the gravity from the start of the show? It does not vanish because you ran a great kickoff. It comes back every week like a tide. Nurturing is how you keep alignment alive between the big meetings. Three simple habits that work. One, the Friday one liner. And this is a beautiful exercise that I have taught hundreds of teams, right? So the first one is the Friday one liner. Every Friday, every team lead writes one sentence. Here is what we shipped this day, and here is how it serves a goal. 2 minute read for you, a quiet alignment check for the whole team. Here is what we shipped this week, and here is what it served the goal. The second, the monthly trade off review once a month. The leaders name one trade off they made that was not in the original plan, but they have to say how it connects back to values and the goals when they started the project, right? This keeps the integrate value step from missing and rotting away. And then the quarterly one, once a quarter, not once a year, you ask the SS question again in your own words. What does success look like for the next 90 days? Because the goal was set in January, right, is almost never the goal you should be running by May. I have worked with small nonprofit that started running monthly 30-minute alignment check, not a status meeting, not a dashboard review, and just plain round table talk, right? Are we still rowing in the same direction? Where are we drifting? What do we want to fix? And after 2 rounds, they cut their cross team meetings by about a third. Not because they stopped working, right? Because they stopped refighting the same alignment question every single time. So the point is tend the plan like a garden. Do not just launch it and hope it's all going to be there. So pause me and then get a notebook, 3 minute, one real project. This is what I want you to do. Pick one thing your team is running right now, the big one, the one that eats most airtime in your meetings, the one you have a small nagging feeling about. Go through alignment, SS. Write one sentence. What does success look like in 90 days from now? Then ask, if I ask three people on my team the same question, would they write the same sentence? Then look for bias. Name one voice on this project that is getting left out right now. Write their name down, book a 15-minute talk with them this week, and see what you hear. Integrate values. Name the two values quietly fighting on this project. Write them. Which one am I choosing to weigh and why? Right? Then guide. Find one piece of data your team has not talked through together. Book a 30-minute working session, not a status update, to talk with the team. And finally, to nurture, put one date on the calendar, 30 days out, for an alignment check, not a status update. One question only on the agenda. Are we still rowing in the same direction? That is it. 3 minutes, one project, a team that stops differing. Now, two traps I see leaders fall into when they bring align into their own real world. The first one is, yes, the first one is mixing up alignment and agreement. Alignment does not mean everybody looks and loves the plan. Alignment means everybody understands the plan, know where they fit, and can say why the team is doing it. Disagreement is fine, drift is not. If you wait everyone to agree, you will wait forever and you will get the committee mush. If you build for everyone to align, you will move. The second one is running alliance once. This is one that hurts most. Leaders run a beautiful kickoff, write a great mission line, right? Get the team truly engaged in week one, and then they assume it will hold on its own way for the next 6 months. It will not. Alignment is not an event, it is a habit. You realign every month, or you slowly lose the alignment you started with. So, if you're listening to this and starting to think the alignment problem on your team might actually start with alignment inside you, your time, your focus, your values, your directions. That is exactly why I built the purpose factor assessment. 10 minutes, a few honest questions, and walk you away with a clear picture of where your own North Star is pointing and how clearly people you lead can see it. Because the team that is hardest to align with is also the one whose leader is quietly out of alignment with themselves. So it's in the notes and description for the episode, or DM me on LinkedIn, Aligned Purpose, and we will send you the link. So here is where I leave it today. Alignment is not a poster. It is not even a mission statement. And it is not a slide in a kickoff deck. Alignment is practice. 5 letters long. Assess the goal, look for the bias, integrate the values, guide with insights, nurture the actions over time. That is how teams stop drifting and start moving together in the same direction, together the same mountain. You're listening to your host Singh on Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives on the Transformation Network. I'll see you next week. Till then, lead mindfully.
Thank you for watching Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives. With me, your host, Singh. We are honored to have you join us on this journey to explore the transformative power of mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and authentic leadership. Tune in every week on transformationtalkradio.com at noon Pacific on Tuesdays, where we will continue to explore how mindful leadership can create a ripple effect of positive changes in your life and lives of those you influence. This show is dedicated to helping you lead with purpose, presence, and passion. Whether you're navigating the complexities of business, building strong connection with your team, or striving to make a meaningful impact in the world around you. To learn more about the show, access additional resources, or dive deeper, visit singhpowerupcoach.com. Remember, leadership isn't just about what you do, it's about who you are. Let's continue to transform lives together, one mindful moment at a time. See you next week.